Welcome everyone. Hey, it looks like some people are late here. An empty chair there, Diego. Welcome to three. Your hair looks fine. Looks good, Jack. You're good. You're good. Yours too, Clint.
Oh, this is the best start to a meeting ever.
Okay, so here we are, Three Martini Lunch, a national virtual networking event. I'm real happy to see you all. I understand we're going to have 15 people here the first hour. So some people are a little bit tardy. There's Domenic, he's coming in. So for those of you that are watching Three Martini Lunch for the first time, this is broadcast on Facebook. It's put up on YouTube.
Oh, so you never had a diagnosis for diabetes?
Okay, so no, I've never had a diagnosis for diabetes before, so that's good. I guess I can get life insurance. That being said, we are going to have a great show today. It's holidays are coming up. We're not going to have a Three Martini lunch until the new year, so this is the last one of the year. The Three Martini lunch is a national virtual networking event. It is powered by Rockstar Connect. For those of you who don't know what Rockstar Connect is a national networking company. We do events all over the United States and Canada. Of course, that is slowed down somewhat because of COVID, but we're excited to say that we heard, people are getting their vaccines today, and they're soon to be distributed all over the country. So that's certainly going to be leading to more events. And we're looking forward to that. Many of the people that are on our panel are attendees of Rockstar Connect events. In addition to that, they host their own events, many of them in their own cities. And we have opportunities right now. We are taking reservations for people that do want to host their own physical live events. Do you guys remember what those are? Yeah, who want to host their own physical live events, meet people in person, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, in order to make meaningful connections, which could potentially lead to friendship, or that could lead to business, or helping other people, or just feeling like you're not all trapped in it at home, missing the world go by. Cold everywhere around the country. That's something that's new from last week. Everybody went out to walk their dog today, or thrust their children or cat outside, and they were greeted by intense cold. But we're going to get through that. I think we're going to be having a lot of snow potentially next week. Who's ready for snow? Great. Can I have a test from someone just to make sure my mic is working? Diego, are you there? Can you give me a 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, good. Because for a second I thought I couldn't hear anyone. But welcome. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to use the success is contagious model. And in the success is contagious model, for the first hour, we discuss our successes for the last week. And in the second hour, we have another great question. And the question was so good last week that Sarah created. She created another one for this week. So we will be using Sarah Elliott's question. Sarah is the co-creator of Rockstar Connect. And she's the producer of the show. And just beyond that, she's fantastic at systems and getting things ready. You can't believe how many companies she runs besides just Rockstar Connect. And without her, we wouldn't be here today. I wanted to put a little twist on the success this week and ask, since we do network, we are networking people, I'd just like to ask you, how do you use networking to increase your success? So I don't really necessarily need to hear what your specific success was for the last week, but I would like to know how you leverage networking in person or on Zoom calls, virtually, through follow-up to increase your business, and why is it important? Why is it important to you? Why can't you just buy a whole bunch of leads, and get your business that way. I'm going to start with Jennifer because first of all, I want to apologize, Jennifer. The last 2 weeks, right before it became your turn to speak, you had to go. Am I right?
It's all good. We can make it up here.
We can make it up here. So I thought I would start off with you because if anyone you would think doesn't need to network, you would think it's Jennifer because she has millions of views of her channel in South Carolina rather, and she helps people build their business. How do you use networking to be successful?
Well, it's great no matter how much influence you may have on social media. You still need business connections. You still need people who are experts in other fields to refer them to other people in case one of your clients need help with something else that you can't fill in, or if you need to know more about what's going on in a certain industry. And you also need to stay sharp in understanding what's going on in the world in general. And networking is a great way to hear what everyone's experience is from their different businesses, their different industries, their different challenges. And, if you get a lead from it, great. You always go in hoping that you eventually get business from it also. But you want to, always find some value learning something new and being able to take what you learned from that one day, from that conversation with other experts in other fields, to somehow apply that into your verbiage and to somehow use it into the way you think or come up with ideas or collaborate on your next project. It's useful in a lot of subconscious ways, I think.
Well, that's fantastic. And is that why you do 3 Martini lunch? I mean, because three Martini lunch, the panelists here, they're all 6-figure earners or 7-figure earners that are participating on this. So very successful in their industries. Does that make it particularly attractive for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure that you talk with people who have gone through it but have actual success from it, so that you know that what they say has more credibility a lot of times. Not to bash on the newbies out there or people who are just starting out, but they have had the best experience and the trials and errors to make sure they got to where they are of a profitable business, that you can count on what they have and know that there's actual credibility behind the advice and anything else that they say to you.
I think it's also cool for the people that are watching because they know that you guys know what you're talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely.
People are asking you the right questions so you can explain about your business. Well, thank you. I'm glad we went to you first, Jennifer, so we didn't miss out like we did the last 2 times. And I do apologize for that. Did we make it up this time?
Yeah, yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Can you just tell people where they can read your, see your publication, your media?
All right, I'll put my info in chat, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, terrific. Thank you very much. Hey, Jackie. Oh, she may have been in and out. Hey, Andrew, welcome. So,
what's up, Stephen? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How's married life treating you?
It's nice, man. Not much different than it was before. We've known each other since we were 19.
And you're 22 now, so not too many. I mean, that's a short amount of time. Still the honeymoon period.
Yeah, or 38, but
But about 38. So networking and success. I mean, you invest financially in networking. You have your own physical event. You do your own Rockstar Connect event. You go to other people's physical events. You spend a lot of time interacting with other people on social media, giving of yourself. I mean, you do a lot of free consulting to learn who you want to partner with. A lot of
correct.
time. So, how do you use networking for your success?
I've always, even before I got into real estate, which I looked up the definition of realtor one time, and it was vaguely word for word what I wanted anyway. But I've always enjoyed being the hub or the one person that anybody can go to when they need something. And even if I don't have that resource, I know who does, and I can make that connection. So when social media became such a hot thing, and then
I think you muted yourself, Andrew. accidentally mute. Can you unmute him?
Yep.
There you go. You're good.
Yeah, it was just a no-brainer to put the two together. And like, how can I be the hub of that wagon wheel?
You know, it's so cool with social media and that, making referrals. So a Rockstar Connect host asked for a referral today for HVAC repair, and I could see all my connector friends that are always chiming in and making those referrals, and I feel that they have a little dopamine button in their head that when they
Yeah.
get to make a referral, they feel real good, and they're rushing to do it and make sure they have the correct information. Sometimes if you don't have the information to make the referral, or people are a little surprised you don't know, right? What do you do then? Do you go do some research for them?
Well, I'm smart enough to know when I don't have the answer. And I keep, like you said, I kind of keep my fingers on the pulse of other networking groups in town that may be a different structure than mine or may just work slightly differently. And I'll ask the host of that and sort of have, like almost like the inner circle players club sort of thing. We're like, all right, my group doesn't have it. What do you have over here? How can we keep this little tight knit inner circle?
You guys sound like the Wilmington Mafia there.
Very close to, except there's a lot more brewmasters and chefs. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it may be an interesting name for like your inner circle host group. You just call yourselves the Wilmington Mafia. We get stuff done, and
I get flagged all over social media.
we can take care of some problems for you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're staying with us for the second hour for the question.
I'm gonna do my best. I can't find the email with the links. I'm on my phone right now.
Well, Sarah, make sure you get an email for the link for the second hour.
Cool.
If you are staying for the second hour and you do not have a link or you need a link, put that in the chat, and Sarah will make sure that you get your link.
Also, I'm in the Ohio room too, Stephen, if anybody wants to reach out to me in Ohio.
The higher room is open today? Okay,
Yep.
good to know. Great. Jackie, it looks like you're in the higher room too by the shape of your phone.
Hello.
Welcome. Where are you right now?
I am in my car.
With the background, it looks like you're in some sort of club or something.
No,
Yeah,
actually, I'll move my big head. That background, I thought perhaps you would be able to see it, but that is actually Jeff Messer filming my art auction at the Civic Federal Credit Union office.
We haven't seen Jeff in a while. We'll need to get him back on the panel. So Jackie, networking is your business. You have a foundation that helps other people. It's important for you to have your own network, information referral, where all your power and strength for your tribe and nation comes from. How do you use networking for your success?
Well, networking to me is a very powerful tool if used in the right, proper way. And for me, the term networking means bringing people together who have something to offer each other to help them grow or help support their initiatives or their organizations. And I absolutely love bringing people together, especially when I know that they're not only going to create greatness for my interests, but they're also going to connect and do other great things for other people. And so networking to me is a powerful tool if it's used right.
And networking doesn't necessarily happen at an event. I mean, you and we met, I showed you an apartment.
Right. Networking can happen in many different ways because to me, networking is a big part of building relationships. So whomever you cross paths with, if there is a spark there and just conversation, you've already begun the processing of networking. And so it's about relationship building 100%. And sustaining those relationships.
Yes. And, people talk about social media and the purpose of social media. And in my book, Mingle, I discuss, the digital tools. Social media is a very good way to keep in touch with a large network. Can't call everybody in your database every single day, nor do they want to hear from you every single day, but they want to check on you and see if you're doing okay. Noah, sometimes if you haven't heard from someone in a while, do you go check to see their Facebook to see if they posted in a while before you reach out to them?
I
Go
I
for it.
actually did you talk to me, right? I
Yes,
wasn't. Yeah.
no.
Um, I actually let my intuition connect myself with people. So I just suddenly a name will show up in my head, and I will say, "What's going on with Steven?" And then I will just text them, and I will say, "Hey, just thinking about you. What's going on?" So I learned to listen to my intuition, and mostly they're gonna text back and say something happened. So that's how I work, and I think it's really connects to your question. You want me to answer that?
Yeah, let's go to the question. And
Yeah.
we did meet at a networking event, you and I.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, some people say I really don't like to connect because it feels like I need to sell myself. And at least my perspective is that it's about connection. And for me, it has two levels. First, when I meet a new person, I'm really getting curious about them with in mind if there is another person that I can connect them with. So it's less about me, it's more about getting to know them and see how I can help them. So that's the first. The connection is not just it's not about what I can get or how can I sell myself, but how can I know that other person, that I can connect them with the right people. And it comes from my mindset that one of my first jobs was a recruiter in manpower in Israel, actually. And recruiting is about just connecting the person with the right job. So I still have that mindset when I meet with people. But in the second layer, connection for me is just connecting with people, having a real conversation, not a sales conversation, getting to know them, understand who is the person having a conversation with me. So I try to create a real conversation. So that's where I come from.
A lot of people are concerned with their elevator pitch, and you're making a pitch. When I go to a networking event, I really don't want to be sold anything, and I don't really want to sell anything either.
And I don't want you to look at me while you're scanning the room, looking who else.
That experience.
Right? That's no connection. That's like how many people I can meet in the room right now. You don't want to connect with me. You're just going first. So for me, it's about having a real conversation. And I can even share, Jack is here. I messed up. We had our first networking conversation. I totally checked off and forget that we have that conversation. I was sitting here with my kids having a fun conversation. And suddenly I looked at my calendar and I said, oh my gosh, I was supposed to meet with that person and have a networking meeting with him through Zoom. And I texted him and I said, hey dude, I messed up. I just forgot about our meeting, and we just went on the phone and had a good laugh. And he said, now I have a good story to always tell about you, and at least you didn't lie to me. You said the truth. So I messed up, but we had an awesome conversation. We got to know each other, and it was real. I could just write something or even ignore meeting with him, and he's laughing here.
I think I think with COVID, people are really, they're just pulling off the Band-Aid, and they're just being more real, because you sort of know that people are going through the same things you are going through.
Yeah.
With keeping meetings and keeping appointments and remembering to take off your mom hat and put on your business hat. It's difficult. It's difficult.
And we're human beings.
Hmm?
We are human beings. We mess and we do mistakes. But if I show up and I say, hey, Steven, sorry, I just had a good laugh with my kids in the porch and I totally forgot about our meeting, I believe you will be willing to do business with me because at least I'm real. Maybe I messed up, but at least you know that when I will mess up, I will tell the truth. So that's where I come from.
And they may say, you know what, it's good we got one less meeting we had to do today. One less.
We did at the meeting. It was a lot of fun. Just a bit later.
One less scheduled phone call, maybe.
Yeah.
Great. Ray, out in California. So networking, very important to you. I mean, you and I have done quite a bit of networking. We've sent business back and forth to each other across the country. Networking is such, as far as a business perspective, is such a painless way to make revenue and money. It really is, because you're enjoying yourself, you're making friendships, you're talking with someone, you're learning people. And in real estate, which Ray and I both do real estate, you open up you open up an envelope and there's money in it. Just for some sent you a referral fee from networking, right?
Absolutely.
What is it like when you get one of those checks?
So it's pretty exciting. As a realtor, I would say that even if we're networking and doing business by referral with our client base, we're still spending some money. We're still, working pretty hard to get those listings or those buyers. But one of the things that's interesting about a referral is you get someone that wants to move somewhere where you can't serve them. So being in a network like Rockstar Connect, it gives me an opportunity to share my referrals with somebody in our network, which is what we just did with my daughter moving to North Carolina. So it's completely painless. It's very profitable. There are agents that I know that basically what they focus on is getting clients and referring them out to other people in their network in the United States. So getting a check, and all I did was say, hey, Stephen, thanks very much for your help, or can you just take care of my daughter for me? And that's exactly what Stephen did. By the way, she loves you.
She's great. I mean, it's great with networking because his daughter, she wasn't sure she was moving to Raleigh. She wanted to move to North Carolina, and she didn't know when she was going to do it. And Ray said, why don't you take like a 30-minute call and tell her about North Carolina? I think we had like a 2-hour call. And the next day she said, oh, I sold my house. I'm moving up. Go find me a new house and go find my husband more work up there. Yeah. So, it literally took years for her to make the decision. She had been to North Carolina before, visiting, so she knew she wanted to move to North Carolina. And my question to her was, why? What is it in North Carolina that you really want? Because she's lived in, she's in her, we're not gonna talk, she's been in Fort Lauderdale forever, since she was born. Mm-hmm. So to go to a completely different state, it can be a challenge. Not knowing anybody there, she has no family there, didn't know anybody there. She just loved the environment, the Four Seasons, proximity to the beach isn't right there, but it's not too far away. And in Fort Lauderdale, she's 15 minutes away from beach. The friendly people.
And friendly people. So yeah, I think actually talking to you gave her, okay, this is what people are really like, because that's one of the things she was concerned about. She knew the area, she didn't know anybody. Talking to you made all the difference.
It was sort of neat when we were in the car and they were really, I think, still trying to make the decision of, what price home they were going to buy. Are they going to be here? Are they going to be in Charlotte or what have you? And your son-in-law is like, I don't even know if I can get a job. And I said, well, hold on a second. I picked up my phone and I called someone, said, hey, I have someone in my car who can do this particular task. Do you need him? When can he start? Get him a job right there on the phone. I said, I can make 10 more phone calls like that. We do have a good job situation here in North Carolina for people that build things and use their hands. So one of the great things for those of you in the audience, referrals. Learn how people accept referrals, how to give referrals, and some people even reward you financially for referrals. In real estate, we have the ability to do that. We have rules that allow us to do that. And in other industries, there are referral fees that are available too, and they have their own set of rules. That's a good thing to discuss when you're doing a one-on-one. It's not inappropriate. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's worthwhile.
And in real estate, I think it's kind of structured. We kind of know what's happening, but it's not structured at networking events. And what I mean by that is, I've been a host with Rockstar Connect for, I think February would be 3 years. And what I found is people don't know how to network. Sometimes they just want to tell you everything that they do and not talk about, you don't even know who they are. So as a host or as the networker, it kind of behooves you to know a process that, set expectations for the people that you want to refer business to, or that you're looking referrals to get referrals from, because they don't know.
That might be difficult at the event. That may be at a
Right.
one-on-one. On a one-on-one.
Definitely at a one-on-one. Get to know somebody, set up a coffee, which is what I've done in the past, set up coffee, and then say, who's your ideal client? How can I help you? And you'd be surprised at how much business you can help generate. By the way, depending on where you're at, we're here in California, we're back into being a kind of a lockdown state again. You can still do that with Zoom, you know, or even a phone call. So just because you can't meet them for coffee or a drink or whatever, don't stop networking. You meet them online, meet them with a phone call. Again, it makes all the difference.
Yes, and then keep on preparing and working that networking muscle. Don't say, well, okay, now I'm not going to 4 events this week, so I can take 4 naps. That's not the way it works. That's not going to help your business in the least bit. And we're coming up at the end of the year. How many of us just by hands have a lot of stuff in their funnel for January? I mean, 2021 is already a good year for most of us. I would say all of us here, we all have business. I mean, I just wrote it. We're 7 days away from Christmas, and I just wrote an offer today that will close the first week of January. Excited about that. Hopefully it'll be accepted at 5 o'clock. Very aggressive offer. A lot of due diligence, put my money where my mouth was, or put my client's money rather. But great tips, Ray, and you're an excellent networker. By the way, you do those interviews on YouTube. If anybody wanted to see any of the Red Shoe interviews, where would they go to find those?
So it's called Interview with a Rockstar, and you can find it on YouTube or Facebook. And those aren't about business. So I encourage you to watch something like that, whether it's mine or somebody else's. But the goal for the interview is not about your business. Your business comes up, but it's really about you, because the idea is know you, like you, trust you. And I know you, so I'm trying to share who you are with my database, the people that follow me, and you can share with your database. And you'd be surprised. I had 200 over a weekend. I posted it. It's not live, so I posted it on Friday, and by Monday I had 200 impressions just on Facebook. And I don't know how many people watched the whole thing. I don't do the analysis on that, but I was just surprised so many people saw it. So.
Well, and by doing that and putting up that content, it gets people used to seeing your content too. So that
yes.
when you do something about real estate or something that's important to you, people will say, "Hey, I want to hear what Ray has to say." Also, I've seen now I think 2 of the programs that you've done. It's like a one-on-one.
Absolutely.
So for those of you who want to understand what a one-on-one is, a podcast is a great place to see what a one-on-one is. So like Jenny does a podcast and she is speaking to the other person and learning about them, but that process is done by them learning about Jenny as well. It's a two-way street, and that's what makes it interesting, because it's a conversation. So whenever I'm on a podcast or I have a speaking engagement, I prefer that. I like to have a conversation with the other person. And that's where you really make the relationships. In fact, when I first met Noah and I spoke at the organization that she was involved with, I specifically requested that we go immediately to question and answer. That's the best thing, because we have a lot of questions and we need answers. Jenny, how do you use comment on anything we said thus far, but also how do you use networking for your success?
Well, I mean, I don't really have comments on anything we've talked about thus far. I think all of us on the call network.
By the way, your hair is like very full and great today. But before you go there.
All right, awesome.
Camera ready hair. Go ahead.
It's day. I only wash my hair once a week, so like, it's because of the extensions. I don't like to fade them sooner than they need to. So, obviously, it's a good hair day.
Is this type of weather friendly to your hair? Is this type of weather friendly to your hair?
It is. It's a little drier. Like yesterday, it was a hot mess. Today, the dry shampoo is doing its thing. So anybody would like a lesson on dry shampoo, we can do that offline. But I think that everybody on the call, what I was saying was, I think that everybody on this call, at least, and what I've observed and experienced with Rockstar is we all network from a very similar intentional place, which is to make connections, not to necessarily build business. And because when you make the connections first and then you build the relationship, the business tends to follow. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's about creating those relationships to the point that I get messages from random people through Facebook or whatever saying like, hey, I'm a photographer too, and I want to know how you get recommended so many times in these Facebook groups, like that you get tagged with your name. And I'm like, I'm just nice to people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just nice. And then people tag me. No, but it's because I build these relationships. It happened yesterday. I got a new client who was apparently internet stalking me, which I wasn't aware of, but she was like, she got, unfortunately, her, the photographer she hired was exposed to COVID. So that photographer's loss was my gain, because she came back to me. She's like, no, I wanted to work with you from the beginning, but this friend of a friend came along and it was a good price and blah, blah, blah. But I've been going to your website every day. It's like, oh, okay. But that was just a result of like, her asking a question in a networking group on Facebook, and I got tagged a bunch of times. So, but that's because I've invested in building these relationships, mainly because I'm also a helper, right? Like at my core, like I like to help people and act as a resource for others. And because that's a very simple way to practice generosity. If you know something, then share your knowledge. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So, if you know someone,
and the best way to learn is to teach.
Yeah. And so like if somebody's looking for a plumber or an electrician or a realtor or a business coach or whatever, you can be like, hey, I know a guy or I know a gal, and that's helpful. That is being helpful.
It's like a lifestyle. I think people from the outside looking in at people going to networking events, the ones that are dissatisfied with it, they're reflecting on themselves because that's what they want. They just want to go get business. So if they go to an event, they don't immediately close business. They say, oh, well, everyone there was for business. They were selling stuff, but they didn't take the time to pay attention. The people were there because they enjoy being amongst other people. They like working collaboratively. It's part of the satisfaction of their life, and it's how we determine success. It's not how many toys you die with, it's how many friends you've helped before you die that determines who you are as a person. And people that go to Rockstar Connect events and similar networking events where people come from that attitude, where there are no forced referrals, where you're not forced to do business with other people, the quality of the event is much higher, and hence the quality of your life is much better. In business, if we didn't have that aspect of business, why don't you just go become an employee instead? Mm-hmm. Right. So I talk with Sarah and I say that we're really the rebels and the rogues. We're not aware of it, but when our friends that have day jobs and they work 9 to 5 and they're in their cubicles and someone's telling them where to be and where they are, they're looking at us. We're sort of like pirates. Mm-hmm. They don't understand, wow, you've worked for yourself for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They don't understand that. They either look at you and say, how can I do that? Because they want to do that and they have the capability to do it. Or they're just like, I don't have time for that nonsense. Mm-hmm. So you seek people similar to yourself. I saw Diego sort of nodding in on that. What's your perspective on the entrepreneur, the independent business person as a pirate, rogue, rebel?
Well, it's funny because about 15 years ago, that was me. I had no idea that I would be doing what I'm doing successfully at this point. If you had asked me if I would ever be in a commission-based business, I would have laughed because that was just not what I would have considered. And then the economy changed and I had to change and adapt. And I just haven't looked back, and it's been a wonderful thing. I'm grateful for it. I can do the things I want to do in life because of the decision I made, or the decision the economy made for me at that time.
Sounds like the economy pushed you into the pool. You might have had a little bit of fear beforehand, but I think once you've experienced the freedom, being a free individual, a free agent, you don't have that fear anymore.
Stephen, I'll use that analogy perfectly. I was in the pool. I got pushed into the deep end, and when I realized I didn't have to touch the bottom anymore, that I could still swim, I was fine.
Yeah, you couldn't see to do it any other way. Most people are probably unemployable. Sometimes people come to me and they've been independent for a while, and they worked for themselves, and they'll tell me that they got a job offer. And I'm polite, but I just can't really even listen to it because it's so different from what my experience is and has been that I don't even understand what a job is anymore. But maybe we'll push a few more people in the pool. Let's push Jack into the pool here. Jack, how do you use networking for your success?
Sorry about that. I learn, that's one thing I would try to say, and I'm going to borrow something that one of my good friends here is on the panel with me has always said, and that's Clint, is be consistent. You're not going to go to one networking event, meet a couple people, and probably walk away successful. And Jenny kind of hit on this also. It's building that relationship. I think you even mentioned that, Stephen. It's taking the time to invest in others, learn about them, and make sure they know it's a two-way street. That that you're willing to help them. If they call you for something, you're willing to do what you can to help, and vice versa. But the other thing I've learned more in the last probably 3 to 4 months too, and I may have mentioned this before, is the ability to ask. People that you're networking with aren't mind readers, and if you have a specific thing that you're trying to accomplish, once you've built that relationship, you can't go in and ask them the first time you've met. But once you've built that relationship, then it's okay to ask. Hey, I'm struggling here, or I'm trying to find somebody who does this. And that's really opened more doors for me, is once you have that relationship, is asking for the help when you need it.
Yeah, and you can accelerate that by putting a little bit of principal in the bank that you can pull out at a later date. So when you meet someone for the first time, immediately ask them how you can help them. Right. So, in our academy, we teach people to say, what are your goals and how can I help you achieve them? And now you've established the relationship where you've already put somewhat of an investment in there because you've opened yourself up to let people know that you are available if they have an ask.
Absolutely. And I tell people all the time too, as I got to know them, look through my connections, look through other things. I don't know what you're looking for, but if you see people I'm connected with on LinkedIn or anything like that, let me know. I may not know them as well as I do others, but I'm happy to make any kind of informal or formal connection that you want me to do for them too.
And you couldn't achieve that just, in your office. And if you haven't met Jack in person, Jack is 7'2". He's very
in my mind.
Well, you're quite a bit taller than myself, but that's not saying much. But when size can be intimidating for people when they if they just first meet you, or they don't get to meet you, but if they get to actually meet you and say, hey, this guy's a big softy. I like him. I want to be his friend. You can only do that if you put yourself out there in the mix. Correct?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
But I will tell you with these big guys though, don't push them too far.
I know my softy is around my middle. I don't know. Like I said, I got to work on that. The six-pack's coming back in 2021. That's my.
Well, I think everyone over the next month may gain a pound or two over the holidays, because there's a lot of good stuff out there. I was on the scale yesterday, so I got to watch it a little bit this week.
Actually, yep.
So Clint's saying no, he's not going to gain any weight. Go ahead, Diego.
One of the things I love about Rockstar Connect, both this platform and in person, is we get to practice a skill set that most of us, in all honesty, are very good at. Right? Most of the people who are involved with Rockstar Connect know what they're doing. And I say practice it because it's at a high level. The truth of the matter is what I get the most out of this group and the live events that we do isn't at the events. it's what I get to take out of the events and actually put out in the real world to people who aren't comfortable with networking and talking with them. You know, that's what I love about these conversations. I take so much more out of it and put it and apply it in the real world.
Really good networkers tend to be very good storytellers and sharers of their friends' success. They're very happy when their friends do well, and you end up becoming an advocate for your friends in the group. So people will say, you know, what's the advantage of being a host? Well, we're sort of an event. We're putting it on steroids, because you don't have to meet everyone that goes to your event. You can't possibly meet everyone, but you have the ability to reach out to any of those people at any time because you've earned it because you're the host. In addition to that, those people are becoming your raving fans and they're your brand evangelist. So you're sharing your story with a large amount of people all at once. Why? Because you're having an event. People want to know why you're having an event. They go look you up on LinkedIn. They look at your Facebook. They ask to go to coffee with you. I mean, really, I will have people reach out to me and say, why do you do what you do? What's the purpose of that? Why are you helping all these people? Why do you run this group? Why do you volunteer? Do you guys get that experience too? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it gives you an opportunity to explain, hey, in networking, it's not about me, it's about you. And if we're doing this correctly, and it's going to benefit all of us, because you're going to give me your story, and I'm a natural storyteller. I need those stories. I need someone to brag about in my extended family. Clint's nodding around like a bobblehead over there. So let's get his thoughts on how he uses networking for success.
I agree with everything that everybody has said so far. I mean, it's pretty much nailing it, right on the head. And no, I'm not going to gain any weight over the holidays, because my 90-day challenge ends on January 1st. So no sweets, no chips, stuff like that. So I will be as good as I can be through the holidays. I guess I leverage networking by, using the superpower that I have, that all of us have on this panel, and connecting the right people with the right people to build that trust with me, to build that trust with them, and to have them send their people my way if they need to know somebody. Like when you were talking about, meeting somebody for the first time and going into like a coffee or a Zoom, what I always try to do is figure out, do my research as much as I can beforehand on that person, saying, hey, what do these people do? And, writing a list of the people that I know that do those same things. And then based on their personality, try to match them with the right person that does that. It's all about leveraging the connections, because our connections here, just like Diego just said, are more far reaching than just here. We are a branch for everybody else that, like you said, Stephen, doesn't feel like doing this.
Yeah, before we ever go live, before every panel, I have to everyone, because they're saying, oh, did you meet with so-and-so and talk with so-and-so about this? And are you doing that? Did you follow up on that lead I gave you? And etc.
And you have to be present. You have to be consistent, like Jack was just saying. And, it's just networking that's really all I do. I don't really go business to business. I'm not one of these people on the panel here that's a business owner. So I actually work for a paycheck. But people, like my friends, still ask me, what do you even do for work? Because they never actually see me work, because I'm always at these events or playing golf or going to have a drink with somebody, or Jack's laughing because he knows it's true. It's just how I work, and that's through my network. And speaking of something like that, big shout out to Mr. Andrew Pierce. My sister lives down in Wilmington, and she is looking to sell her house and to buy a new one, and there's a new neighborhood going up that nobody can figure out who is doing it. So Andrew is on top of that for me, has already sent me a few emails. So I appreciate you, sir.
Excellent. It's all about, we're all in sales. Everyone is in sales, whether they know it or not. But the holy grail of sales is incoming calls, your phone ringing, which always gets me when people don't answer their phone. It blows my mind, because when your phone rings to me, and who used to pay the Yellow Pages? Who remembers Yellow Page ads? Yeah, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I used to spend tens of thousands of dollars per month on Yellow Page, and that was just to get my phone to ring. And that was a sales point. You know, we had a brick and mortar store. We used the phone call as a way to leverage to get people into our physical store. When I sold my businesses, the person that I sold 2 of them to, you'd call their business. They wouldn't even say their name of their business when they answered the phone. They felt that the phone ringing was a nuisance. But the reality is, you know, if your phones aren't ringing, you're not in business. And networking is the best way to keep that phone ringing. Yeah, but believe me, you'll have more than enough phone calls and people to speak with about business, and also have that balance where you get to share your life with people that you care about, whether they be your actual family or people you've brought into your family. And so, Domenic, you get the last word on this. How do you use networking for your success?
I mean, relationship networking is 100% how I do business. Right? I don't make cold calls. I don't knock on doors. You know, I develop relationships with people that I find valuable, and then, you know, I leverage those relationships to do business. And a lot of the people that I have these networking relationships with become some of my best friends. So, you know, there's no reason not to. Like Clint says, you know, it doesn't even feel like work, because you spend all your time talking to people you like, and that's how you generate your business. So, you know, the only thing, and I'll get back to what Jack was talking about a little bit earlier. I find myself, when I'm networking, not even thinking about my business so much as I'm thinking about finding out how I can help the people that I'm talking to all the time, that I forget to ask people, like, hey, you know, I do need to occasionally do some business, so send somebody my way, or like, let's have a conversation about what it is that you're doing. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, my fault, because I just get so wrapped up in doing things for others that I don't think about doing things for myself, which is okay. I do more than enough stuff for myself that, you know, I'm not starving. But I could do more if I just like happen to mention it every now and again.
Sometimes it feels like, you know, because you get into it, you're really good at networking. You are. And that feels like it's your business. And you got to remember, oh yeah, they don't send me a check for, you know, how many networking events I went to or how many people I met. But nonetheless, there's money in the bank account every single month.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're coming on to the second hour, and Sarah's question. Who just is not really to have anything to do with networking, but just with our own personal lives in general. Who has started their Christmas shopping or finishing up their Hanukkah shopping still?
The better question is, who is done with all of their shopping and was done right after Thanksgiving?
You were?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, not yet.
Even this is an unfair thing for Jenny. She has a gift closet full of gifts that she can just go to. And
but they're not for my family. No, we just got everything done. Like, that's COVID, right? We just, like, we had the time to sit around and like pick through mailers and shit stuff that we don't normally do.
Hey, isn't it?
This is a family program.
Isn't it cool?
Of course, it was me that dropped it.
You know, your mother had a gift closet, and you're always like, oh my God, all those crappy gifts you have in that closet, and then you give them to people and they love them just because you did pick them with intention that this is who this person's for. You can't give it to them for 10 months.
Right. Exactly.
But even in all fairness, we were talking about Dominic's thing Wednesday and Thursday, and what the level of gift that she should buy, pick out of her closet. So
tonight and Wednesday, not Thursday.
Sorry,
tonight
and Wednesday.
It's not like people are going to show up, Dom.
No, nobody's coming.
So do Jewish mothers in Israel, do they have gift closets, or is that just in the United States?
I don't know.
Apparently
the ones in the US not, but I believe they're probably regifting. That's probably what the Jewish moms do. They regift.
So we had Hanukkah last week, first night for the girls, which is amazing because we usually never get our act together, you know, the first night. I think that's probably the first time in history that's ever occurred. And my mother had like she had a laundry basket of gifts for everyone that was there. She tends to get Sarah the same gifts every year, but my mother's not watching this. It's okay. It's okay. My mother's not watching. But, you know, Sarah every year enjoys them very much, the same exact gifts. And, of course, the kids love them as well. But you reflect back when you were a kid. You know, when you're Jewish and you have Hanukkah and you have to get gifts for 8 nights, you get some pretty crappy gifts. You're going to get one, like, really good gift, and then you're going to get, like, underwear, socks. You're going to get a mug with, like, your parents' bank on it. I mean, you're going to get some really bad gifts. There's nothing like Christmas where everything under the Christmas tree is awesome. You know, you put all the junk
on a rope.
Possibly. I got soap on a rope at a bar bat mitzvah. That was like the takeaway or the favor.
Yeah.
My brother, who's the nicest person in the world, finally had to ask my siblings to please stop with the soap on the rope.
I got
It's
soap
so
on the rope.
nice.
Soap on the rope every year. That's just awful. Well, I mean, there was a time that men only got socks and ties.
So
right?
can I share with you something?
Yeah, please do.
In Israel, we don't do the 8 days gift. We don't do that. It's something that I haven't encountered until I moved to the US. You give money on the first day or a gift, and that's it. You're done.
My kids would love that.
Yeah. So that's something that I learned when I moved to the US, and we don't keep that tradition, by the way. Yeah.
Well, I remember from my great grandmother, and she said in Europe, for the holidays, they got a piece of fruit because they didn't have any money.
Right.
They would get a piece of fruit, like one orange for the whole family. That's how poor they were. And it was like, that was the holiday. We split an orange because they were so exotic and so rare to have one. Sarah has something she wants to add.
I heard something this year that I would love to incorporate going forward, although I feel the troops will rebel. And that is for gift giving among family, is that you get 4 gifts. Something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read. And I would love that because
you like a system.
As well, I like a system, but I also like it, would like it more minimal, where we all have all of this crap around us, and half the gifts you give to the kids for Christmas end up on their floor broken in half by February. So I would love to have less crap.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I'm excited because I think we know what we got the kids because they just want money. So that's easy. That's one size fits all, and everyone likes the color green. And they can order their own stuff on Amazon. But I have Sarah's gift, and I'm like 100% certain I got the right one, and she doesn't know what it is. And I'm not going to order it online where she can find out what it is. And I'm not going to let her open it until Christmas Day. Okay, so the question is, we're going to come back. You guys bet. You can put in bets. It's a pool when I'm going to give the gift. Am I going to be able to hold out all the way out to Christmas Day? And no?
Didn't you bring her a gift on your first date?
Yes.
Yes, on our first date.
You brought her 2
dozen roses. It was way over 4.
Was it 2? No, not on our first date. It was roses, but I got I sent you to a nail appointment. Yeah, we had a great date. Yeah. But,
I want to know if Sarah's going to mute you
on
for
the
the rest of the
podcast.
show.
What's that?
I want to know if Sarah's going to mute you for the rest of the show until you tell her.
No, she's good. She won't. I don't think she'll do that. I mean, she asked yesterday, and when I said no, I'm not going to tell you, she said, "Okay, I'm cool with that." But she gives lots of hints. I'm very lucky.
That just means she found where you hid it, and she already knows what it is.
Not in the house. Not in the house. It's en route because it's sold out everywhere pretty much. All right, so gifts. Anybody else want to add anything on gifts and planning on gifts?
I would just add by inspired by Domenic that this year for Hanukkah, Stephen, I'm not sure if you're going to like it, but Domenic inspired me, kids, rather than getting gifts, anyway, you don't need anything, we going to donate every night there are 8 nights. Every night we're going to donate to a different organization. And since I have 3 kids, each one of them had 2 nights. They had to come each night and share what organization they would like to donate to. They did the research. They had to share with us why they want to donate to that. And I have to say, I feel so good about it. As Sarah said in the background, my kids have enough stuff. Every time we ask them, do you need something? They say, I don't know what I need. So I just feel it teaches them to values. It teaches them to right now, most of us don't need a lot. There are other people that need more than us. And it feels really good. So thank you, Domenic, for the inspiration. And I hope my kids will take something from those 8 nights. We're still in the Hanukkah thing, but
yeah, well, I love one of my favorite go-to gifts is buying trees in the Holy Land. And I had a friend, and he was having a party, and it was for his wife. And it's like, well, we were wondering, maybe we should get them, get her some trees in Israel. What would you think of that? She goes, they have enough trees there.
I used to, as a student, I used to work in the Keren Kayemet. So I was one of the people taking people to plant the trees. So I worked as a student there. I did a lot of good money from that. So yeah, I can tell you stories once when we meet.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, it's a successful program. It's the only part of the world where the desert actually shrinks in the entire world. Deserts don't usually shrink. There are some other reasons why they do that. So when we meet, I will explain you the why behind that. Okay, good. I love to know the whys. Hey, so we're now on the second hour, and the question. Do you want me to say the question? All right, so this is the season of miracles. Christmas is bringing miracles to people, and God creating miracles. But you know what? People can create miracles too. They can. And we actually, in the Catholic Church, they saint people, and they become saints because they've done a verifiable miracle. So there's a possibility for all of us people, all of us human beings, all the Rockstar Connect attendees and hosts to create a miracle. If you could create a miracle this season, what would that miracle be? You guys like her question?
And it can be beyond your power.
And yeah, you don't have to have that power. We're gonna say you do have the power. Okay? So let's start with who wants to go first? Clint. Let's make Clint go first because he usually goes last.
Oh geez. I have no idea. So if I had a power to create a miracle.
You do have a power. Everyone here has a power to do a miracle.
Yeah. Steven, that's tough. Sarah, that's a great question, man.
We can come back to you, Clint.
Yeah, could you give me a second? Yeah, make Domenic answer this one since
you can't complain about being last.
I don't mind being last.
Okay, you can be last. Okay, Domenic, what miracle are you going to create this season? And you have all the power to do any miracle you want.
I mean, it's like, do you do a selfish miracle and,
you can
bring back a relative that you really miss? Or do you do, one of those, giving miracles where you make sure that everybody is fed or there's no more wars or something like that,
What about a miracle for one? What about a miracle for one of your kids? I know you have one kid that's getting ready to go away to college.
Yeah, and if I could do one miracle for her, and I know it would be just providing her with the confidence to know that she can be successful and do the things that she wants to do, if she puts the work behind it. I know she can. It's, she's got some learning disabilities that she's grown up with and she's had to overcome her entire life. And, she's just now starting to learn that she can overcome, even though she's been overcoming the entire way. But if I could just snap my fingers and get her to that point where, you know, we know she's going to be in 5-6 years down the road, and just make it happen today, that's what I do for her. And then things will take care of themselves.
Really good. That's really good. I'll piggyback off that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if a miracle could happen, I would say that all of the college kids can actually go to college, help, like, without risk of infection, and they can have some kind of normalcy. So, you know, my daughter's, she's going to be a freshman. She deferred the first semester, and she's starting to go in a couple weeks. And I would love for her to be able to go to college and have that experience. She didn't have the normal senior experience. You know, luckily she was on junior prom court and stuff like that. So she got to go to prom when she was a junior. So she didn't like miss out on that when she was a senior. But I would love for her to be able to have some kind of normal, like upper age, you know, teenage age kid experience, which she's not right now. So I would, that's a good one, Dom. I like that.
And then all the tuitions disappeared.
I mean, yeah, I thought that was a given. Is that not a given? Like, okay.
That would be great.
That's on the selfish side.
So before we go to the new people that just came on, Norma and Adam, is there anyone who has to leave in the second hour, or are we all staying here? Is if there's anyone that has to leave, Diego. So let's go to you, Diego. What miracle would you like to create and make happen this season if you had all the powers to do so?
You know, I've been thinking about it, and I think if there was some way to do it, the miracle that I would put into place was to somehow put a button on social media that immediately filtered out anything other than genuine truth.
That would be an incredible miracle, because I have now, Sarah and I are so confused with what we read. We don't know what's the truth anymore, and we sort of discount a lot of stuff that's being given to us because of that.
Oh, y'all should run that by me.
We'll run that by you next time. Excellent miracle.
And that will take a miracle.
Hey, so guys, Norma, Adam, welcome. Norma, the question in the first hour that we asked everyone, and I'll give you the opportunity to answer that first, and then we'll get to the second question, is rather than just what was your success in the last week, how do you use networking in your personal life to lead to success?
Well, you know, I've been an introvert most of my life, so I really haven't reached out a lot. I'm a writer, so at least I was for the first part of my life. So I haven't really reached out a lot, but now I'm using networking in a whole different way, and it's a lot easier online than it is person to person for people who are introverts like myself. So in terms of how I'm using it, as a matter of fact, I'm just starting my first Facebook group for authentic speakers, coaches, and leaders. And I'll be using that in multiple ways. And I'm just loving it. I got over 4,000 people on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I've never done anything with it. They found me. I never reached out for people. They just find me. So now I'm learning to use those resources. And Alignable, I've got so many of them, and so many people that have friended me and otherwise connected that I look up, oh, here's more people, fine. But now I know what to do with them. So I used Rhonda's service last month and got my LinkedIn together. And I actually did a webinar last week and reached out to all the same people in my same industry. So I'm right now just going through the education of learning how to use them. And I'm even I had a Facebook person, two people on Fiverr, one that does my postings now. So I know to prepare those. And the other one that reached out to all my LinkedIn people for my webinar last month. So I'm just really stepping into actively. I've stepped into it before, and I have 8,000 people that are following me in between all the different programs. But now I'm actually learning how to use it and taking advantage of it and leveraging it. So I'm learning to leverage it. That's how I'm using it, learning to leverage it.
Well, that's very good. You have all those resources. So many of us have, friends on Facebook, on LinkedIn. etc. And we have the ability to network with them and bring them so much information that can help them. So it's definitely admirable that you're doing that.
It's just a matter now of time management to figure out how to do it and when to do it and which ones are, and prioritizing, because it could be overwhelming. So
it is. You may have to get a staff soon to help you with that.
Yes.
So the question for the second hour is, it's the miracle season. You now have the ability to create any miracle you like. You have the powers to do so. What miracle would you like to see this season?
Well, I think the miracle that I would focus on is that everybody would take whatever lesson they learned in 2020, because so much went on in 2020 that impacted everybody's life in one way or another. And those of us that are wise enough to take lessons from the things that happened, first of all, that people are wise enough to learn something from the experience of 2020, and that they will use that lesson for the improvement of mankind and society as a whole. Because a lot of the lessons were societal lessons. You look at the health issues and the racial issues and political issues, they weren't individual. I mean, individuals were involved, but they were community, they were society issues. And which brings to me to think about how much, if nothing else, authenticity is needed in society. So I would hope that people would take their lesson and take a step up in their level of authenticity in ways that benefit all of us as a whole, society as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm concerned because, I know a lot of very positive people. I know a lot of very successful people, and whatever you throw at them, they're going to take lemons and make lemonade out of it, regardless. They've learned it. They've had those skills. Maybe they've always been a happy, positive person, or maybe they've learned from difficult things in their lives, but they've learned. After, we're done with vaccines and we're done with being locked down, what's going to be out there? How many people who did not succeed from this, who are now set back? People that may have lost their jobs or family members, how are we going to be prepared to give them a miracle so that they can so that 2020 is a learning experience and not a tragedy? It's very difficult because we have no idea, because we don't interact with those people. They aren't in our circle necessarily. They aren't part of what we do in our career. We have absolutely, positively no idea. That's, I think, the big unknown. But I wish a miracle for those people.
Yes, absolutely.
Adam Bricker in Canada, making this an international show. So
international.
You brought all your money with you.
Well, that's not all my money. That's just a little bit of it.
Just the tip of the iceberg of it. And that's your big money, because there's big money there. So we have two questions. The first question is, how do you use networking in order to be successful? And the second question is, if you had the ability, and you do, we're saying you do, let's posit that we do, this is Sarah's question, to create a miracle during this season, what would that miracle be?
So as far as networking goes, I'm a networking. I network for everything. My business, my relationships, even my travel from Florida to Canada. I networked all the way up. Even stayed and I had dinner with Stephen and Sarah along the way. I'm a living, breathing network. I believe that on this earth we're all one. So as I look at everybody on the call, you're me. Whatever I see of you is not really you. It's my interpretation of you, and it's one big network. We break off the little groups to improve society, improve our business, improve our families, but we're all one, and that's how I live my life. So I'm a network. If I come across things that work for you, great. If I hear somebody on this call say, I need something, I probably go, I got a guy. The people who know me really well, I got a guy. And that's what I do. As far as the miracles, I like some of the things I heard already, which was kids could go back to college. My kids getting her doctorate degree in physical therapy and can't touch anybody. So that's really difficult. I like truth in social media, but I'd rather have truth in regular media. But there's one thing that I work for. No matter what I do, no matter what my business is, you can see it on my digital business card, and it's one thing, and that's feed the children. If I had an opportunity to create a miracle, all the children on earth would be fed. And that doesn't have any limit to what age is. We're all children, and there's no reason for there to be hunger on earth anymore. We have the technology, we have the food. And my miracle is that we would get rid of enough, whatever prevents the distribution, so that everybody on earth has the opportunity to be fed.
That's a beautiful miracle. Greg McDaniel, welcome back.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate being back. Thank you for the invite.
So you're welcome. We're happy you're here. So Greg, you've been networking forever and a day. You're an innovator in the sense that you're one of the first people that took it to regular, consistent, putting yourself out there with no expectations to an audience on pretty much a daily basis for years now.
Mm-hmm.
How does networking lead to your success?
It's being persistent and being consistent in regards to what you're going to do. So, I mean, if you're going to do video, if you're going to do in person, if you're going to do fill in the blank, whatever that's going to be, just be persistent and consistent with it and just never stop. It doesn't matter if you start off with, basically no views or no followers and nobody shows up to your events or whatever it's going to be. If you're consistent and persistent about it, then people will start to show up because they're going to start to care. They're going to start to watch. They're going to start to listen. They're going to have a lot of voyeurs. They're going to be in the background watching to see what you're going to do, because there's a lot of quitters out there that will start something. And as soon as they don't get the results that they deem, air quotes, necessary or what they should have, well, then they walk away from the process. In reality, that's not how this game is played. I mean, you've got to show up every single effing day, and you've got to be able to do the hard stuff, the stuff that nobody thinks is sexy, or the stuff that's ugly and behind the scenes, and just do it. And like we were just talking about, bring value to as many people as humanly possible, and ask them the simple question that nobody asks is, hey, how can I help bring value to your life? What does your perfect client look like? How can I benefit your business? Not about you, about them. And be consistently interested in regards to, what they say. Take notes, be eager about it, ask them out for coffee, just build a friendship. I mean, that's networking. It's not really networking, it's building friendships. You're building the friendships. And then once you see a friend that's hurting, or you can connect it with another friend who they could go well together. Like, Katie and I connected offline after one of these last meetings, and I was blown away by what she is doing. And I am still, by the way, Katie, I'm not blowing you off. I'm still trying to process kind of like how big what you're doing and how I can put it into my business here. But what she's doing, and I'm just trying to figure out how it can fit into what I'm doing, because I love what she's building and what she's built. And so I'm like, okay, there's an amazing human being. How can I bring value to other humans from what she's doing through my network here? And so if you just stop thinking about yourself and you start thinking about everybody else around you, your life will shift like that. Instantaneously, your life will shift. Darren Hardy, I think I've said this before on other shows. Darren Hardy, in one of his books, he wrote a story about one of his friends. He and his buddy were going to get like more beer or ice or whatever for get together. And his buddy said that, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about getting a divorce. And Darren goes, hold up, homie. Like, let's pump the brakes on the whole divorce conversation. Like, what's going on? And he basically said, well, this, that, or another thing is not working out. And Darren said, I want you to do this. I want you to take go to CVS or Safeway or fill in the blank or whatever store it's going to be. I want you to get a nondescript notebook, and I want you to write every single day about the amazing things that your wife does. It could be the way she does her hair, how she helps the kids, if she fed the dog, just something positive about her every single day. And he's like, do you think that'll work? He's like, give it a run. 2 months later, Darren gets a call back from his friend and goes, oh my God, my life is so great. My relationship with my wife is incredible. Like, everything is going, 5x5, amazing. And it came down to the way you change, you see things. So, I mean, imagine if you just started to change the way you see things when it comes to networking, when it comes to value add to the local folks that are around you. I mean, if you see the local, restaurant owner, the dressmaker, the HOA manager, which by the way, my HOA manager is an asshole, not to go on the side subject. But you know what? I can start looking at them in different positive ways and bringing value, the way that I see them. And you can do that with everything that you're around. That's, in my humble opinion, the way that I like to operate my business. Is I like to see people in the best possible light that they can possibly be in, and then show everybody that great light. So long answer, short question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good answer. And, people are commenting, and I'm seeing them, mention persistent, consistent. And that's the way you really need to be in networking, because it's not always easy. Even when we're not having a pandemic, it's not always easy to get out of the house.
Right.
You had a hard day at work. You got to put a brush through your hair. Maybe
put
shave
pants on.
5 o'clock shadow. Put on pants. But that when you go out, you're always going to have. Once you're out, you're always going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You always have a good time. But you have to be consistent. I mean, imagine if Greg McDaniel said, "Oh, I'm not going to do my broadcast today because I have a little bit of a cold. I'm not going to do it." And then it's like the next day I have an ache and pain. I'm not going to do it, or I have another appointment. That happens all the time. I mean, people just, they have a good thing going, and they've started off strong, and then they're not persistent. They just give up what they're doing, right?
Yeah, be persistent and consistent on everything that you do in life. I mean, we all put our pants on or dresses on, one leg at a time. I know how to put a dress on. That's up to you, ladies. But I'll tell you one thing, that we eat food, we use the bathroom, but we do it consistently and we do it persistently. Why can't we apply that to our business and to our network and our marketing? Why is that? If you have to go pee, why would you not do that? That's not going to end up well for you. Okay, let's just be real honest with you. But if you knew you had to do something like that, and it was in marketing and business, you would get the same result.
I mean, right. I mean, if you're going to go take a pee, you want to take the best pee you can. You don't want to pee all over the floor and the seat.
No, I get yelled about that all the time. But
right.
No, you never want to do that.
You want to be persistent and consistent and be the best peer you can. But the same thing in business too. And I'm going to come to Mark in a second, because I want to give you the opportunity to answer the second question. But, I've had in the last, 3 years, 4 years, calls with Mark, 200 calls. That would not be exaggerating. I've had like 200 calls with Mark. And I've heard him, give the pitch that he utilizes in his business, that he has refined over many, many years. And you can see the work that's in it. And as a salesperson, you really admire how, he's able to tease out, objections from people and give them rebuttals and listen to them while he's speaking. And it's because he does it regularly. There's not a dollar sign at the end of every one of those phone calls. It's like, it's a mental exercise of striving to be great and to help other people. And we all have our scripts that we utilize when we're networking, and they're there to help the other people. It's a great thing. Now, the second question. This holiday, you're allowed to create a miracle. You've been given the power to do so. What's the miracle that you would like to create or bestow upon mankind?
Is this to me?
This is to you, Greg. Yeah. This is second question. Sher came up with this question.
Bestow a miracle onto people.
And if you're not ready for it, we can come back.
I think
it could be big or small.
I think the miracle that I mean, this is me speaking, not you guys speaking. This is my thought pattern, is that I would love for everybody to just see humans as humans. Take away skin, take away religion, take away sexual orientation, take away anything along those lines, and just understand that the person in front of you is a living, breathing entity that has fears, dreams, hopes, and everything else. And we're all in this together. We live on this spinning ball And let's do this together as one big group and stop the infighting. The infighting is what is destroying us. When we get divided, we are not united. We're not united, we can get eliminated. So why don't we just say, you know what? Black, white, yellow, red, purple, Smurf, don't give a shit. Dude, you know what? I fucking love you. Sorry, wrong show. I stinking love you. And you know what? You know what? I don't care what you look like. I don't care what, who you want to sleep with.
Your authentic self, say it the way you want to say it. But the reality is people do try, the powers that be know that they have power over us when we are divided.
Just be a human being. We all bleed red. We all have fears. You know what? Just embrace the other human being that's next to you and say, you know what, homie? I got you. I got your back. I'll watch you. You know what? If I can help you, I will. You know what? And if you can help me, great. But let's work as one unit. Let's work as a SEAL team. You know what? We all have different, unique, traits that we can operate off of, but we can all benefit from everything the other person can do. And I'm tired. The infighting is just killing me, man. It's killing me.
Remember back in the 80s that song Sting used to sing about, the Russians love their children too,
I think you just dated yourself.
Yeah, I have dated myself, but maybe you don't remember because you're a little younger. But we all love our children. We all want good things for the people in the future, and we love other people's children. Even your crappy kid, we love. We love them too.
Hey,
so,
I actually had to kill my kid the other day. Thank you very much. That's not a joke.
God.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Bandito is down. No more tail wag for you guys. He is no longer with us. But
I'm so sorry. Sorry about that.
It is okay, my friend.
Pets are difficult. Mark, how do you use networking for your success? Let's go to the first question, then we'll go to Katie afterwards.
Nice to see everybody on the week before Christmas. And how do I use networking for my success? I don't even think about it. I just want to be the quarterback for my clients. I want to be the go-to person. Whatever they need, even if it's something that I don't benefit from, I want to be able to direct them because they're always going to keep coming back to me. And, obviously when you help somebody, they think of you more and you're more in the forethought of their process. So that's how I look at it. And I actually learned this from you, Stephen. This was a great line when we first started. And I haven't forgotten it. When I meet people now, one of the first things I like to say to them is after an initial, hi, how you doing? What do you do? What can I do to help you succeed? I learned that from you. And I think that's awesome. But so that's how I use networking. Short.
Yeah, the payoff on that question is enormous. That when you can, because that's like really giving someone who you just met some true love before they've proven themselves in any way. You don't have to.
And I don't even think it's that. It's just, you just so disarm them and they start spouting and talking. And, I'm a big believer in knowledge is power. Information is power. When people start divulging things about them, that helps you find the segue into how you can bring what you do to help them. And then they don't even perceive you as selling them. It's all about helping.
And you learn about the world and you learn about different types of people. Your partner, Tommy, who we haven't seen Tommy in a while, but he will tell you he'll take a lunch or a coffee with anyone and everyone because of the learning opportunity. He wants to know how other people tick and what motivates them. And that's how he's successful in business because he has that ability to listen to other people. He's a big listener.
Yep.
Hey, so Mark, the second part of the question, if you're finished with the first part, I'll go to the second part.
Go to the second
part. You haven't been endowed with the ability to create your own miracle, big or small, this holiday season. What would that miracle be?
Well, I think that everybody has made one or two huge mistakes in their lives. And we all know what they are. I'd like the miracle to be able to go back with 20/20 hindsight and 2020 foresight to correct that one mistake that you've made that you know has changed your life, not for the better, or your life could have been that much better if you hadn't made that mistake.
And it would have, that's amazing, because that would impact everyone around you. It basically change the course of everyone's history if you had that ability.
That's right.
Yeah, great.
So that's my miracle.
That's excellent miracle. Katie, you've been very busy this week, basking in the success of your organization. Pretty incredible. I mean, what you've accomplished, a large part of that is because of networking, because what you do, one person can't do it.
It's 100% because of networking. I mean, I always say, like, I can't buy these bikes myself. I can't build them myself. I can't load them myself. Like, none of this is myself. I heavily rely on volunteers to donate and to come give their time. I mean, all of the stuff we had was on weekdays. So people took off work to come help us. And there was 6 days of help that we needed. So we don't just need 5 people. We need, we're dealing with 400 bikes, 600 bikes. So, what's going to think about like your own life? If a stranger asks you to come help, you'd be like, oh, sorry, I can't, I have work. But if your best friend asks you to come help, you're more likely to. And so through networking, I've built, oops, sorry, my dad's calling me. Through networking, I've built genuine friendships with people who, though we may not hang out one-on-one, we're involved in those lives now, and they want to come help because they know and like me. They know, they trust and they like what I'm doing. And so they want to be part of it.
Do you feel, what do you feel about the people that have been inspired by what you're doing? There's other people out there saying, hey, Katie's working really super hard and having these great accomplishments that are helping other people. Do you find that people that you're networking with say, I want to do something like that, or you've inspired me to do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say they want to do stuff, but start a nonprofit, but there's a lot of talk out there, and, just actually start, that's a commitment. That's not like, I'm going to commit to a 2-week weight loss plan. I mean, this is starting like a company, basically. This is a commitment. You can't just do it for a few months and be done. And so I think a lot of people maybe aren't ready for that. I mean, there are a lot that are, but a lot of people are, it gets them wanting to volunteer more, because they're like, well, I'm not going to start my own thing, but I want to come help you when you have, when you have volunteer needs. And once people come volunteer with us, it's like they're hooked. They're like, I want to come back and do as much as possible. I mean, just from the bike builds, strangers who I'd never met would come to one of them, and they were like, this was so great. And they came back every day. Or they were like, well, now I got to come see what these bikes being given to the kids. And so then they come to the bike reveal, and people just, once you are a part of it, it makes you feel so good. You want to keep being a part of it.
That's fantastic. I almost feel like I'm not going to ask you the second part of the question about what miracle you want to do, because I think you've already achieved that this season.
I have, but I kind of had an answer you may not even expect me to say, because obviously, like the bikes and all that, but the other part is kind of back to the volunteer part, and it's making people be part of it and how it affects their lives. Like volunteers walk away, and I get messages from them constantly saying that I changed my whole life. Like that was so awesome to be part of it. And so I feel like that's sort of this bonus, that how good it makes people feel and how they feel it changes their lives to watch the kids get their bikes and be part of that.
It sounds like as you're doing this, your point of view of what you do is maturing and expanding. So yes, it's great to help the children. That was what you initially wanted to do. You also wanted to help yourself to become, a more powerful person in charge of her own destiny. And now you're taking it even further. You're sparking volunteerism in your community locally and nationally.
Yeah, I mean, lots of, like today, Hyundai of North Charleston, I think I mentioned before, they were giving us $10,600. Well, today was the big check presentation. I just posted pictures about an hour ago from it. And that was, all those employees that work there, like they got to be part of this, happening, and that they knew where the money, as they were, selling cars, they knew where money from each car sale was going, and it was like affecting their whole, like their career. It was affecting their, I guess, their daily life at their job, because they knew every day, like they were raising more and more money for us. And so whenever I go there, they're genuinely excited to see me. They don't know me. It's not because it's me. It's because it's like, oh, we've been doing this all year, and now we get to see the money be given to you and how happy you are. Like, it's these little things, it's these ripple effects and this domino thing that, just, for another example, quick example, we have a big local high school here, and the staff did this huge, they gave us like 50 or 60 helmets and locks, and they, as a staff, fundraise for them and have people donate them. And people have done that before for us, and it will be like, 20, but this was, and he was like, this wasn't even as much as I know we could do. We want to do this every year. Like, people got so into it, and they had this huge, big, display when I walked in, like something like that, as simple as collecting helmets and locks for us. People got really into it and were really excited about it. And that is spreading so much joy into their lives, because they know where they know where those helmets are going to go. They're going to go to the kids at Lambs Elementary, like they know where they're going to go. And so it's stuff like that where you're affecting people without even knowing it, just in the process of raising money to affect these kids' lives. We're affecting the adults who are helping with it.
That's fantastic. And third question, have you thought about if when they make the movie Going Places, who's going to play Katie in that movie?
Oh, easy, Reese Witherspoon, because I get told
that on the podcast.
I get told all the time I look like her. Literally just last night, someone messaged me and was like, man, I just watched 4 Christmases and you look so much like her. And I was like, that's so funny, because I had just done, like, I'm the best at finding people's doppelgangers. And I had just done this side by side. It was a specific photo of her and a specific photo of me that looked so much like. And I was like, I actually have a side by side of us already done.
But yeah, she's a little old to play the part, isn't she? Or she can play younger.
Or I was told Alicia Silverstone. When I was in high school, I was always told Alicia Silverstone.
I always thought that you looked that she looks very similar to you.
We both have crooked mouths and like talk out the side of our mouth.
But once again, they're probably going to have to find someone closer to your age.
Right.
Because they're much older.
Well, actually, neither of them are that much older than me. They're only within a few. I mean, I'm like almost 38. They're probably like early 40s. So.
I think some of them are. I think Alicia Silverstone might be, do to 50.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Sarah.
No, I'm looking it up. No way.
Sarah's gonna look it up. And so, Noah, do you know what the second question is, or were you off during that point? We're discussing miracles. You have
miracle.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
We'd love to hear your answer.
So on the more serious note, since I have someone in our close family with health issues, my miracle was that no one will have health issues. The worry when you have someone close to you that has health issues, seeing people going through their health situations, it's hard. And as we know, pandemic right now is holding us in the houses because of health issues. So if I could make that miracle that no one is having any health issues, it would make me so happy.
Or the fear of it too. The fear.
Yeah, and the fear of it. Yeah, and actually related to what Katie said, when I have clients with some health issues, because many people have autoimmune issues and stress. Sometimes it's actually the best when you have very consistent health situations to just go and volunteer, because it takes you like this whole conversation from thinking about yourself, about your health situation, to give to others. And it's healing. It's healing and it's helpful. And a lot of people right now have some mental health issues and other health situations. So definitely the best recipe for that is to go and volunteer and give some time to other people. So that's something that sometimes I suggest. Have you thought about volunteering and giving something to someone else? Because I know sometimes we can be too self-contained with ourselves, and that can be exhausting too, and
Well,
impact
I
our health.
appreciate when all of you come on 3 Martini Lunch, because I consider a level of, you know, volunteerism, because there's a lot of people that listen to this program on you know, we get messages and emails where they say this is program, what you guys are sharing with them, the positivity is really helping them through this very hard period. To see people that could be doing something else entirely for 2 hours, you know, obviously, you know, everyone here is able to make a living in those 2 hours, to spend their time sharing their opinion on how to help other people. They appreciate it. So I appreciate all of you participating in that miracle. And
Can I add a silly miracle?
Yes,
Since we both, so I was just kind of like, there is a saying that I say for years, if I would have that special wand, I would eat as much as I want without gaining weight, because I love eating so much. So I knew you will get me. I love food. I love to cook. I love to host people. So for me, eating without gaining weight will be a huge miracle.
Well,
So
I think there's like ways you can do that. Like if you stand up, you know, the food has no calories. Cooking for other people, well, if you're eating it, it has no calories. If it drops on the floor, you know, right, Andrew, you're a chef. If it drops on the floor, it has no calories at all. I'm hoping all these things are true. It's what I was taught when I was younger.
Yeah.
Andrew, what miracle would you like to perform?
I was watching Iron Man the other day, and it was right at the scene where he looked at the board his dad had left him with the map of whatever the Disney World type thing was, the science fair, and he realized it was the blueprint for the the arc reactor in his chest. And I thought how cool it would be. And I've got high tension lines that run over my land here, so I'm always kind of thinking about, you know, power versus solar. And then I hit that. I was like, what if we could all just have this thing like a coffee cup you drop into your house every month and it's free? And everybody who can't make their power bill payments all of a sudden in January doesn't lose heat and light and everything else. Almost make it like a basic necessity.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. You know, they have on your taxes where you can contribute extra taxes. It would be great if you could contribute an extra $1, you know, to someone's utility bills.
Yeah, or, you know, even get like a little palladium chip you put in, and all of a sudden your house runs for 6 months.
That's a great miracle. You know, when we do have, you know, less expensive energy and free energy, they say that's when our world will really take off technology-wise and freedom for everyone. So that's a great miracle.
I mean, basically, internet now is an essential resource. You have to have it. Kids need it for school and everything.
Well, we're not even aware of how essential it is because we have it. You know,
right.
Where we live, we have it. But there are little areas in North Carolina where there's no internet.
No.
And, there are people like right now in Warren County, the Fitz Foundation, and they're from Warren County, in the town of Littleton. They brought fiber to the town of Littleton absolutely free to the entire downtown area of Littleton. That's enormous. That means people that are born in Littleton and went to school in Littleton can remain in Littleton and work in Littleton. Otherwise, they have to leave. You know, if you don't have those opportunities, if you don't have access to Wi-Fi, you don't have access to the economy anymore.
Yeah.
And there are large parts of the United States where people do not have any access to the internet, as strange as it sounds. There's also people that don't have access to fresh water in the United States and electricity, for that matter, even in our own state here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, down here at the beach, we have the big Gen X thing going on with the Kenmore's plant up the river.
Right. You know, water that's not safe to drink.
I mean, we're not Flint, Michigan, but we're probably not far away.
Who knows what they're telling us? You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
Jenny, would you like to share your miracle with us?
Sure. Actually, my miracle would be to have an endless supply of money, because then I could perform all little miracles around me.
Okay, well, I'm going to help facilitate that. Let's take a call.
Exactly.
The next couple days, and I will give you the key to endless money.
Like, I'm not talking like, you know, I'm talking like the, genie in Aladdin, like cave full of gold riches.
No,
like
I know exactly what you're saying.
all the money.
Some people, I feel like if they had all the money, things would be a lot better because they would know how to spend that money on other people. Like my grandfather, who was a very big connector, people used to have a lot of joy in giving him money. I mean, he literally he was on retainer with a lot of clients, and they used to say to him, it's like, us giving money to you is a great investment because you do so many good things with that money. It reflect well on us. So I sort of think your miracle is a great idea. We should talk about how we can get some endless money into
it. I mean, it's just the little things, like talking about like what Andrew's, talking about people not having utilities in the winter. I mean, all the people that are gonna be put out because the rent protection expires at the end of the year, and I mean, it's we on Saturday, one of my networking groups, we got together with Rotary and the town of Holly Springs and United Methodist Church in Holly Springs and a couple other groups, and put together baskets of household goods and toiletries, and had produce boxes from the North Carolina Food Bank, and non-perishable foods for their pantries. And we all had a route, like we split up, divided and conquered, and everybody delivered baskets and boxes to each of the residents. And it was literally like we drove up to one of the addresses, and on one side of the street had to have been at least a 6-bedroom McMansion on one side of the cul-de-sac, and we're delivering to the trailer that's 10 feet away, where the man is suspicious that we got the wrong house. And I was like, no, sir. And I'm like, even if we did, Merry Christmas. Like, here you go. Here's stuff for you because you obviously need it. Right. So like the ability to not worry about those things and just pay it forward, whether, so people don't need to be hungry.
I mean, people are missing a lot of things right now. We always take pride that at our holidays, we always have a few spare senior citizens that have adopted us that we have come to our house. They come for Thanksgiving, they come for the high holy days and Passover and Christmas, and we had none of that this year.
Right.
Those people, they're used to coming us, and they're like, in some of them now, because of COVID, have been put into facilities. We have a friend that we just saw her right before Thanksgiving, and she lost both of her in-laws. That they did not get to see them over Thanksgiving, and both of them passed, one right after the other, not from COVID, but in the meantime, they would have been with family, and they're not. And so the miracle, my miracle, and I'm the last person, I guess, I think everyone got to share their miracle. You went first, Clint. You got to share your miracle. So would be that we can end this isolation. Is it's COVID is horrible. It's terrible. I mean, I was just reading about it of one of my friends on Facebook who used to come to our events that's been on a ventilator for 20 days. And before that, she was working in the ER at the hospital for 9 months. So she no rest for her whatsoever. That's a horrible thing, but it's also horrible all the side effects that are happening from this. People that are isolated, and I'm starting to go on Facebook. I don't know if you are too, and saying, hey, there's some people I used to see them post all the time, and now they're quiet. They're not there. I want to be able to reach. The miracle would be that we could reach out to all those people that are alone now, because clearly we're not alone. We have people. We're blessed. We're lucky for that. But let's reach out to all those people that are alone. That's why, Greg, what you're doing is so important. Going on Jen, he podcasts every single day. Can you imagine? I mean, it's like you know what it's like. It's every single day he podcasts. It's so important. And, so many of you are doing that too. You're communicating with people, you're making calls. I always love, Greg, to finish out the show, and we just have a little bit of time. Could you share, in the podcasting world, are there any innovations you'd like to share with us?
There actually are. I found this new app. Where did you go? Well, I've talked about it before. There's one called Anchor. It's an app. You can literally record podcasts and information directly from your phone. But there's another really cool one, which I literally downloaded yesterday and I haven't had a chance to play with it. Where is it? It's called Stereo. And this is what it looks like. Oh, I can't show you what it looks like. But basically what it does, it gives you the ability to like build like little avatars for yourself like this. And then you can create a conversation and like your own little radio show and have conversations with people around the world. 100% free. I think that it could be a really interesting opportunity for folks that, if they think they have a face for radio, or if they just want to kind of be anonymous to folks, you can go on there and create this little avatar for yourself, and then just have conversations. Start, being a human being, but you don't have to actually be seen, which I actually think is really, really, really interesting in this day and age, because everyone's, shit, look what we're doing here. We're all digital, right?
If you heard about, in California, you're probably seeing it more, than we are here in California and Florida, where people are now going on Zoom, and there's like a huge amount of people getting plastic surgery.
What?
Like the big thing of people getting plastic surgery, because now they're looking at themselves on the screen.
Well, the thing
I
is,
look tired. I need a refresh. I need Botox, or.
Sure. I look at myself every day, and when I see myself smile and I see the wrinkles on the side of my eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, I look fugly. But at the exact same time, you know what? Ain't nobody give a shit. Just go out there and just be yourself.
You earned every wrinkle and every gray hair you have.
You're damn right I do, and I got a lot of all of those. But the thing is that when it comes down to being visible with what we're all doing, you guys go out there and just be creative. If any of you guys want to connect with me, I got a billion ideas on videos that you guys can shoot and different equipment that you want to shoot with. Adam, let's you and I connect for sure, brother. Hit me up on Facebook, Facebook friend me, and we'll have a conversation today. But it's just being real. By the way, Adam, I dig your look, brother. I love the mountain man look. That's awesome.
He's a Canadian now.
The Canadian mountain man look.
Canadian mountain man look.
But
what's on our end on Rockstar Connect, we've been working very hard. Our team has to launch the Rockstar Connect network. And on the Rockstar Connect network, you'll be able to connect with other people similar to yourself, other networkers, in an environment that a lot of people are looking for places where there's absolutely no censorship, because they want to talk politics and they want to yell at people and they want to scream at people. We're creating a network that'll be, it's going to be politics free. There's going to be no politics in it. It'll be more like what you see in 3 Martini Lunch. People talking about real stuff that impacts us every day. The stuff that's, happening, 5 minutes away from us, that creates a butterfly effect that helps people on the other ends of the world. So all of you guys that are, panelists, you're going to get to have your actual real names on the network before someone else takes them. You're going to get the first invitations, because there's, there is more than one Greg McDaniel. There's only one Greg McDaniel. But there's more than one person that has that name, and of course with everyone here as well. Hey
so
guys,
actually,
we're at the. Go ahead.
That's actually something I was actually thinking about, Stephen, is, what, all of us with our names, go on to Instagram and start a group or a Facebook group with everybody has the exact same name, and then start networking with people with your exact same name. Talk about the power that can have internationally. I saw that the other day. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Greg McDaniels.
Grove, they have, and I don't know if they're doing it anymore. Adam might know. They had the Fred March. And everyone it started off, everyone in Coconut Grove, which is a small part of Miami, named Fred, used to have this march, and they would march together, the Fred March. And then it grew where Freds would come from all over the world to march. Do you remember that, Adam? The Fred March in Coconut Grove? All the Freds would march together. And that's a pretty common name, the Freds and their family and everything else. That's a great idea, Greg. Okay, guys, I'm going to let everyone go until next year. I'll see you all next year, except for the people that I may see before then. If you could put up your hand, and
happy holidays.
Happy holidays. You can learn more about Rockstar Connect on our website. If you want to know any information about any of our panelists and you haven't figured out how to copy a chat, you can go to our website and we can make that connection for you. We'd be happy to. So happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Thank you.